Is there a new frontrunner in the cask strength PX Sherry Finish Bourbon category? That we're going to talk about today on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. Easy for me to say. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. As always, greatly appreciate it. So I had mentioned in the intro a PX Sherry cask strength bourbon. Do we have a new frontrunner in that category that really you guys need to be paying attention to? That we're going to discuss like right now. So with Barrell, we all know Barrell does an absolutely incredible job with their blends. They're maybe one of the best in the business. So will this kind of jump to the front of the line in terms of that PX Sherry cask strength bourbon that we've all kind of become accustomed to really enjoying? But will this be kind of the front runner? So that we're going to talk a little bit about. So some of the specs on the newest release here from Barrell. So this is coming in at 115.52 proof. The derived mash bill on this one's going to be 80% corn, 16% rye, and 6% malted barley. So a slightly different mash bill than a lot of us are kind of accustomed to. So age statement on this is 6 years, but it's anywhere from 6 all the way up to 15, and whiskeys or bourbon specifically coming from the states of Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. MSRP on this one is going to be right around that $85 price point. So considering what it is and some of the ages, I have no issue at all with that price point. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this and see, is this going to kind of live up to how I've already really kind of hyped it a little bit? So color-wise, you can see it's kind of a beautiful, kind of like burnt orange, medium mahogany, really oily on the glass. I don't know if it's coming through or not, but so far, oils are absolutely beautiful on this. So let's dive into the nose and see what this one has to offer. Oh man, so right away, this beautiful like blackberry, like a raspberry type of note. Almost a little bit of like a pastry, like a fruit-filled donut or something along those lines. It has that older oak feel to it. So I think some of those older whiskeys that are blended in here are starting to shine through and are elevating so far this nose. But the sherry finish, or PX Sherry, I should say, really feels like spot on. It's not going to be that sherry bomb that oftentimes some people love, but it's blending or mingling very, very well with that older oak. So you get those fruit notes and older oak so far. Yeah, almost this like kind of fruit jam, like a beautiful, like, I don't know, like fruit preserve, something like that. That is there, it's intense, but it's not like overly heavy. I know I'm kind of like mixing my words, but what I'm really trying to relay to you is how well it's balanced. You don't have a super, super heavy PX Sherry influence, and you don't have that really heavy like bourbon influence. They're there, but they're working extremely, extremely well together. I mean, a nice amount of spice that's there as well. But the one thing I've just kind of keep coming back to is that PX Sherry, that oak, and that spice all working extremely well. So let's dive into the palate. I'm really excited to kind of get into this and share this one with you guys today. Cheers. Boy, my first thought is this like raspberry, strawberry, rock candy kind of feel. That spice layer kind of is a mid palate kind of punch. You swallow, you get a little bit of that sweetness, like right up front, like I mentioned, that kind of raspberry, chocolate, kind of rock candy kind of feel. The spice kind of then begins to layer in. The oak really begins to kind of layer in. I think that older oak that's in here is really an enhancer to that sweetness that's there. So it allows for that kind of balance to feel extremely well. Like this feels to me right away that it would just be a very as much as a 115 proof bourbon can be, and at cask strength and with a sherry finish, that it feels like a very nice introduction to somebody who's not had a lot of sherry finished bourbons. This has a lot of that balance and richness that I think would allow for that person to really enjoy this. Now, with that being said, for anybody who enjoys a great PX finished bourbon, this is right in line with what I think a lot of people are truly going to enjoy. The balance of it is, to me, the most important thing. It has an awful lot of that so far, with each one of those kind of layers working extremely well with each other. The more you sip on it, the more the spice layer begins to build. Again, the oak and that PX sherry work extremely, extremely well together. Yeah, I think you just have to think of this as an older oak kind of feel, that kind of jammy or that raspberry, strawberry, chocolate, spice, oak combo. Again, all of that feels like it's just working extremely well together. So as you sit down with this, I think those flavors will kind of continue to build and linger. Like the more I kind of talk, the more that spice layer, the more that kind of jammy fruit, chocolate, spice, all kind of lingers and just kind of sits there on the palate. So it makes it feel like the finish is pretty darn long on this one. It's about as crushable of a 115 proof cask strength sherry finish bourbon really can be. I think an awful lot of people are really, really going to enjoy what this has to offer. Now, I love, a good PX sherry finish bourbon, but I'm not always a fan of when one thing, especially the finish, dominates the bourbon and what, the other kind of characteristics are that it has. This is not doing that at all. Like, each kind of component feels like they're enhancing the other. So that to me is where I feel like Barrell and their blenders do an absolutely incredible job of putting a fantastic whiskey together, is that this is a really nice representation of what that should be. It's just all working extremely, extremely well together. This, in my opinion, feels like one of the better PX sherry finished bourbons I've had in quite some time, because of everything that I've mentioned. When you have that whiskey that's balanced really, really well, that where each kind of flavor profile that you're getting, you taste individually, but at the same time all works, in this perfect harmony, let's say. That is the sign of a really well done finished bourbon. And I think what Barrell has done with this, they've kind of knocked this one out of the park. And in recent memory, this may fall into that category of one of the better Barrell releases that I've had in some time. So for 85 bucks, a PX sherry finished bourbon, man, that's going to probably be pretty readily available in just about, everywhere that you guys go. This feels like a home run for me, for Barrell. Like, I love that profile of being able to just sit down with this, enjoy what that profile is, and not having to like overthink this thing. It's done that well. So, I'll say this. I think for a lot of Scotch lovers, and by all means, I'm not any Scotch expert, as most of you guys know, but this feels like it falls into that category of what a lot of sherry finished Scotch lovers would enjoy. It feels very, I don't know, it just feels very cohesive. There's a lot that this has going on for it, but still being subtle. I know that's like a word salad I've kind of hit you guys with here, but I enjoy it that much that I just feel that this is going to hit an awful lot of categories, or for a lot of people's palates will be just something that people truly enjoy. So, you know, with that being said, I'd love to hear your thoughts. You know, are you a fan of Barrell? Have you been a fan of some of the things that they've done? Have you tried the PX Sherry cask strength bourbon that they've recently released? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But overall, in my opinion, this is a buy. If you can find this, I would encourage you to buy it, and then come back and let me know your thoughts. I'm always interested to hear your feedback, and I think others who watch the videos are just as interested. So I don't want to hit you guys with you know, constant word salad on these things, but you know, in my opinion, it's a very, very well done PX Sherry finished bourbon from Barrell. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in as always. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook and Instagram, those places at My Bourbon Journey. Also, if you'd like to help support the channel and become part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, make sure you check out that Patreon link in the description below. That down there with a lot of other great things for you as well. So, and more importantly, thank you guys all so much for your continued support. And as always, it's about the journey and not the destination. I'm about ready to finish this thing. Cheers. We'll see you next time. She gone.
I've been feeling myself. I've been trying to keep it all on track. I can tell you took your time. I've been thumbing through your gram like that. Bring my energy back. Girl, you're something like the sunlight. Girl, you're something like the sunshine.